Hi, good morning. Welcome back to Sherry's Crocheted Happiness. I'm checking in with you just to see if everyone's still crocheting and trying to keep up with projects, maybe doing your temperature blanket or some other projects. We've all got a little bit more time on our hands to work on projects and catch up on things that we maybe have been putting off. So hopefully you are finding a new project. There's lots and lots of patterns out there that people are posting for free, and it's really generous of them to do that. I don't have any written patterns because I can't wrap my brain around those, but I'm very thankful for the people that are posting their patterns for free, and even the ones that are for sale. I've had to purchase a few lately, and I'm just really grateful that they're out there and that is something that we can still access. And I'm grateful that the craft stores are staying open to help us with our supplies, and I've got a pretty good stash of yarn here and eyes and things of that nature, so hopefully I don't have to venture out to get any of those, but I'm grateful that we can get them if we need them. So hopefully you all are staying safe and crocheting. So this morning or last night I started working on, it's a Bat Wington, the Brave Bat. Super cute, by Sweet Softies. And her picture, my gauge is so off from everyone else's. I don't know how to correct my gauge, and I don't know how to correct patterns to get the correct gauge for on a pattern. So if maybe somebody has a tip on that, that'd be awesome, because she has her picture and her little bat fits in her hand. This is the head for my bat. I think he's going to be a little bigger than my hands. And this is using a 2.25 or a B hook. And her pattern, let me get in there real quick. Her pattern actually calls for a slightly larger hook than this. And so I'm almost, an A would be the smallest hook like this, unless I went into like a for thread or something of that nature. Which I guess I could, but I don't want to fight my yarn. I want it to be as easy as I can. So anyways, my little bat is going to be a little bigger than the pattern, but I'm okay with that. I think he's still going to be super cute and a really cute softie. So again, it is by Sweet Softie, and you can find that on Pinterest. It's a free pattern for the little bat. It's super cute. So I've gotten my head and my little eyes on there. And this is done in a continuous round, so this is one of those ones where you can put a stitch marker in and you count around. So let me go ahead and, oops. I should have opened this up more before I started this video, but so it goes. All right. Yesterday I tried to find a pattern for Mario. This is something you have to be careful with on Pinterest if you're not familiar with Pinterest, but I started to open a link for a pattern, and then all this weird stuff started popping up about how my computer was whatever, and I shut it down. So I'm sure they hope that you're going to click on those things and get to the next step and start entering information, which I did not. I just got out of the program, and I did not go back into that when I found a different program for my Mario, and it's way back there. I'd show you guys. All right, so trying to find the pattern here to get it back open so I can start working on, there it is. This pattern is also available on Ravelry as a download, so that you don't have to sit here and fight with all of the ads and stuff. All right, so remember I said I'm using a 2.25, and her pattern actually calls for a 2.75, which is slightly larger than this. Very slightly, but still. All right, so got my head done, and so now I am going to do the 2 ears. And I have this contrasting dark gray yarn right here that I'm going to use. So I've also been taking time out. I'm still working a couple days a week. We're seeing patients on an emergency basis, so I still have that at least to get me out of the house and function a little normally in this time where we are secluding and self-distancing, but I at least have the ability to get out and do something that's a little bit normal a couple of days a week, and I'm taking time to go through things and organize things like I'm sure a lot of you are, and I have gotten quite a few things downstairs done, gone through things. Things don't seem, things that I've been holding on to in like a kind of a junk drawer-ish setting don't seem quite as important anymore. So maybe there's that at least, that I'm able to let go of some junk that I have been holding on to thinking, oh, one day I'll need this. Well, I may not. I mean, you know, it's not something I've used we've lived in this house 7 years and I haven't used it, so I actually cleaned out quite a bit of stuff. I'm pretty proud of that fact. So hopefully you're able to go through some things and organize and dust and do the things that you have been putting off, crocheting being one of them, to keep your minds busy in this time. Alrighty, so I've got my dark yarn. I've just chained 1, and there's chaining 2, and then I'm going to put 6. And remember, I posted a little video a while ago. You can use a magic circle, or you can do your stitches into this beginning chain. And so I'm going to put 6 single crochets into that beginning chain. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's my 6. And so if this was not a continuous thing, a lot of these origami, whatever that word is, I still don't know how to pronounce that, they're done in a continuous circle. So you don't, you know, usually you would slip stitch to the beginning of the chain, or beginning of the last stitch. You don't do that on these. You just continue your next stitch, which my next round is going to be increasing. So I'm going to 9. So I single crochet in the first one. So there's 1, and then I do 2 in the next one, and that's where the increase comes from. So that's 3 stitches. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I kind of just went right over the top of my little tail. It's going to be able to sit inside. This is the little ears that I'm working on. So that'll be able to sit inside that. So I'm not too worried about that. If it was something that was going to be, you would be able to see the back of it, I would really take care in covering that up. All right, so next I'm going to increase to 12. So 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, and then my increase. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and it was wanting to curl this way, but I want it to go this direction. All right, next one, I'm going to increase to 15 stitches. So single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my increase in the same stitch. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's my increase in the same stitch. Okay, so now I like to slip stitch into my next stitch and pull it through, and then pull it through so that I can have a little finished off point, if you will. So that's going to be the little ear on my bat. Okay, so let's make another one because the bat has 2 ears. All right. So we'll do the process all over again. If your pattern is long and you're following it, a lot of these you can print, but some of them I just like to follow along on the computer. And so if the pattern has a lot of increasing or a lot of stitches, I like to put my cursor on the row that I'm on the computer and then move it down each time. So that helps me to keep track of where I am in my pattern. So if you have to start a pattern, or if you're starting and you know you only have a few minutes, then I probably wouldn't get started on something that you're going to have to keep track of unless you make yourself notes and say which row you're on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then my increase to 9, so single crochet in the first one. There's 1, 2, 3, so 2 in the same, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, when you're increasing or when you're doing your stitch, make sure that you're going through both, let's see, make sure you're going through both of the loops on there. If you go through one or the other, you're going to end up with a little line on here. And sometimes you want that line. For instance, if you have something that's going to be sitting, you're going to want the line because that gives it a base. And so this was in the back loop only on this guy, on that round, and that gives him a base so he can sit. He's a little wobbly, but there you go. You can see he can sit. And on some of these projects, if you really want it to have stability, before you fully close that off in the bottom, you can put a little piece of cardboard or plastic canvas, whatever you have on hand, in there to give it a little weight so that it sits better and stays. So these are cute little chicks. This is again another free pattern on Pinterest that you can find. One of my friends wanted some Easter decorations, and so she sent me the link to make these guys. Got a little loose stitch back here. I'll fix that real quick while I see it. Super cute. You could even do it like a little bunny. You could put some ears on it. Got little wing. You could take the wings off if it's a bunny, obviously. So super cute. All right, so back to the bat ear. All right, so the next round again is to increase to 12. So we're going to do that by doing 2 single crochets and then increase 2. So that's 4 stitches, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and then my next increase again is to 15. So 3 in single crochets, 1, 2, 3. And my increase 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, increase 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And then slip stitch, pull it through to give me an ending stitch there. And my clock that you just heard chime in the background, I don't even know how long the battery has been dead in that clock. And that was something that my son and I fixed yesterday. Put a new battery in it, got the time back up and going. And it's been such a pleasure hearing it chime again. And I thought, wow, I really missed hearing that and didn't realize that I had missed it. But it's just one of those things that you pass by and you're like, oh, I gotta change the battery in that clock. And then a week or two or better goes by and you're like, oh man, I still haven't changed the clock battery. So I guess there's some things good to be said about the having to slow down just a little bit. All right, so let me see if I can get my computer to cooperate. Come on. It either wants to jump all around or it wants to go super slow. But I have this, my laptop's pretty old, so. All right, so I'm gonna turn this around for a second and see if this will go. Maybe. Now, I think I'm taking pictures of myself. Why is it not going around? All right, we'll do it this way. All right, there is the bat. And see how tiny it is in her hands. And clearly mine is not going to be that small, but still very cute. And you can see the little ears and the little body and the little bat wings. Okay, so not very technical savvy. That's why my videos are, I have not figured out how to edit them. And I think if you've seen me from the beginning, I've said I wanted to stick to crocheting and not editing videos. So therefore I am not going to worry about how to do that. All right. So the pattern, I wanted to scroll down real quick so I can show you how to sew these onto the top of the head. It does not say to stuff them, but I suppose if you wanted them to have a little stiffness, you certainly could. So that's why we leave a long string on here, and then I use a blunted tapestry needle, one that's kind of big, one that's not pokey so I don't have to poke myself or get poked, rather. Alrighty. And this particular pattern doesn't say specifically where the little ears need to go, so I'm just going to pretty much center it off of the top of my beginning round. I'm going to go over to that, and I'm going to go above his eye so that you can see that when I put the other one in the same spot, get it on there. That looks pretty symmetrical. Okay, looks pretty earish. I don't want to put it down here because that's not where a bat ear goes. I'm going to keep it up on top. Okay. The best part is if you don't get it just perfect, you can adjust it just a little bit. You can take it out and retry it. All right. So now you're going to kind of do like a whip stitch. So I'm going to grab some of my base and put it through both of the stitches. And I want to kind of keep it kind of full so that there's, I don't want to make it flat because it's a little ear. It's kind of like a horn, sort of. And so I want it to be more pointed up there. Okay, so I'm going to do this all the way around. And then you can use your rows when you put your other, so this is going to be your first you know, your base horn, if you will. And then when you put the other horn on, or ear, I keep calling them horns, the ear, you can use your rose kind of as a guide as to where your next one goes, because you want them to be pretty symmetrical. You want them to be level, unless you want your bat to be a little unique and want it to be have a little wonkiness to it. Okay, so there's one sewn on there. So to end your stitch, I put it back through, and then I go back through my little loop. This yarn is a little short, but kind of like a knot there, but it's not completely noticeable once I pull it through. Okay, and then this little tag, you can either cut it off or you can just tuck it and let it be part of the stuffing. Whatever your preference is. And of course this one's being obstinate, so there we go. All right, one ear down. Let's get the other ear on there. The good part about using these tapestry needles too is that they have a pretty big eye as I separate my yarn, and it doesn't go through all the way, but they are usually pretty easy to thread. All right, so there's the top of my head, and I'm going to try to line that up the best that I can. And then I'm going to use that. Remember I said you can use this as your guide. So my last stitch on this side is on this row. So if I follow this row all the way around over here, I want to make sure that my last stitch, or that the base of this side over here is on that stitch. And then that makes them symmetrical. Okay. Alrighty, so then I'm going to just do the same thing on this ear. Maybe get in there. I think I have a little bit of that tail from my yarn. Dink. Right there, gone. Alrighty, so as you're sewing on things on your project, some of these things that I'm saying are going to become more evident. Sometimes it's hard to fully understand what it is that a pattern says until you do it. I'm kind of a hands-on learner. I like to see things. That helps me to understand what it is that I'm doing. And maybe you are too, and that's why you keep checking in to see what the next projects are that I'm working on. Because sometimes it's easier to see something done than to read it and do it. Alrighty. We're almost done here sewing on this ear. And then I will need to make the body and the wings. And this is the last stitch here. Okay, so let me tie this guy off. It's going to pull that yarn through to make that knot. Okay. And then tuck this little string in. All right. Almost looks like a kitty cat, but it's a bat. Oh, and I can tell on this one, I have gotten this one slightly ahead of this one. To decide now to take it off or leave it. I probably will take it off and redo it, pull it back just ever so slightly, because when I look at it from up here, I can see it's a little too... Let's see. Well, I don't know actually. Maybe I might leave it. Looks okay. Looks maybe a little crooked, but maybe not enough to tear the whole thing apart. All right, so I'll keep working on this guy. You keep crocheting. Keep staying safe. Do things that do a few things that can help you to feel a little bit like your some of your normalcy of your day. My son had his batting coach over today to help him do some hitting in the cage, and it was probably something good for him that he was able to do something a little normal, considering that obviously all school ball is gone, and probably even into the summer it sounds like is maybe not going to be happening either. But you know, it's something that needs to be done. So stay safe out there. Finish crocheting. Maybe order your yarn from online or your eyes online, and but keep working, keep learning new patterns, keep crocheting, keep checking out my page, and go check out Sherry's Crochet on Facebook and see some of the finished projects on there. All right, happy Sunday, stay safe.